It was approximately 12:15 when I entered the Johnson County Community Health Clinic. I was there for an appointment that I set up weeks ago. Just a routine checkup. It wasn't a new place for me. I had been there a couple of times before, however. The place has an odd nostalgic feeling to it, as if it were a location from my childhood or something. I could never pinpoint exactly what this feeling was or where it came from. As I walked in, an overwhelming feeling of deja vu just swept over me. The hum of the flickering fluorescent lights and the white tile floors and the muted beige paint that colored the walls. I noticed that there was a TV mounted on the corner, a small, flat screen. They were playing a short PowerPoint slideshow on a loop of ads and events that were being held by the clinic. I passed an empty waiting room, a small section of the main room with magazines, children's playthings, and blue cushioned chairs, and approached the woman at the front desk. She was sitting in a bluish gray office chair, looking at a spreadsheet on the same Windows XP desktop that had been since 2008. There was a sign-in sheet on the counter in front of me. "I have an appointment with Dr. Pepins," I asked. "What time?" "12:30, I replied. She began typing something on her keyboard. "Ah, yes," she responded. "Gary Johnston?" "Mm-hmm." "Yes, I will tell the doctor. Please fill this out." She handed me a clipboard with a simple fill-out form. I walked back to the waiting room, took a seat, and began to complete it. I was about halfway done with writing down my information when I slipped back into my chair. I hadn't gotten much sleep in the night prior, and I was exhausted. And I slumped back and I noticed something very peculiar. My head never hit the wall. In fact, it felt like it went in. I got up quite frightened and I looked at the wall. Nothing. Not a single hole or dent had been made in the wall by my head. So I reached to touch the wall, and my fingers went through. I recoiled in shock. What the hell was that? I thought, as I reached to touch the wall again, only to find out that my fingers clipped through once more. Then suddenly, I lost my balance, tripped, and fell directly through it. I landed face first on some dirty tan carpeting. Upon getting back up, I realized that I was in a completely different room. Well, not really a room per se, more so a set of rooms, all of which were connected by openings. The walls were covered in gross tan patterned wallpaper. There was also an overwhelming stench of moist carpet. I turned back around and tried to put my hand back through the wall, and it wouldn't go through. "Okay, what the fuck?" I muttered. I looked back into the room. There were no windows, no doors, and nothing on the walls, other than that disgusting wallpaper, of course. It was completely empty, aside from a singular plastic blue school chair. At this point, the only thing going through my mind was fear and a repeated thought of "I need to leave" on loop in my head. I started running through the rooms, desperately trying to find an exit, but to no avail. There was no exit. Was this my permanent location until I died? No, there has to be a way out. I wasn't just going to be left here, right? Eventually someone had to notice that I was gone, but nobody did. Then in the distance, I heard footsteps, but not those of humans, at least not a normal human. Alongside those footsteps were gargling snarls, like it was an angry animal. I began to run. I ran as fast as I could from whatever the hell was approaching me. I didn't want anything to do with that. I ran from what seemed like forever, but I always came back to the same room I started in. At least, it looked like the same room. Not that I could tell them apart. So I sat down, defeated. A feeling of dread filled my body as I started to cry. I was going to die here. I'm still there. I haven't left. I've accepted my fate. In fact, I can actually hear footsteps. I wonder who that is. Hey. Hey everyone. It's been a long time, hasn't it? Like 4 months, I believe. So, I have no excuse for this. I do not have any valid excuse of why I've been gone for so long. The only thing I can say is I kind of lost my spark for about a good 4 months. To cut a long and very daunting story short, when I first started this, I was going through a pretty rough patch. I guess you could say I used my emotions like anger, angst, and resentment and put it all into this one video that started everything 4 years ago. And of course, I was in school for the good 2 years of those. But over time, things have changed in my life. I met another person that genuinely makes me happy and loves me to death, all my flaws and everything. And I am now a dad of a little fur ball. His name is Victor, and he's an all black cat, FYI. So I guess what I'm saying is that angst that I had that made me do these stories was, I guess I could say, is pretty much gone. And I feel like I was forcing myself to do these videos and do audio recording, and I hated it. If you were to see the poem video that I did, if you listen close, you could tell I was forcing myself. Like I wanted to get it over and done with, and I was making it like I was doing another 9 to 5 job, which I hate myself for thinking that. I hate that. So I just stopped. Whenever I want to do a story, I change my mind or put it in the back and just forget about it, or I got too busy. In all honesty, I just didn't want to do it anymore. And I honestly thought I lost the spark and I could just quit. And then, after a long time of thinking, actually thinking about the direction I was going and where I wanted to be, I finally realized that I was doing this up until this point for all the wrong reasons. I'll elaborate by I'm doing it out of anger instead of passion, resentment instead of happiness. And once that was taken away from me by one of the precious people in my lives, and well, a person and a cat, it was gone. And I had nothing. But now I can honestly say I found another way to actually do this. I'm not doing it because I just want to vent or just use my emotions to make myself calm. I want to do this because I'm actually happy doing this. That I love doing this. I love scaring the crap out of you while at the same time connecting with people who love my voice, who love my narrations, and of course, who just likes me because just for me. And with that, I can honestly say I found a new spark instead of trying to find the old one. So, do expect me to make more videos now, especially this is a start. And I swear, I'm not going to make promises, but I will now actually have put in my happy voice to actually do this, to make videos, to make horror stories and narrations of creepypastas or books of horrors come to life and get that one tiny little thank you from the authors who actually heard my voice and love it to death. So please expect a lot more videos coming in the future. This, I can actually promise that I'm not going anywhere anytime soon. I found a new spark and I'm happy I found it. So, from the bottom of my heart, thank you everybody that's been stuck with me for 4 years. Thank you for all my ups and downs, and thank you for being the utmost patient with me. So, I wish you all a good night, or a good day, or wherever the world you're listening this to, and expect to hear more from me in the future.